Hi everybody, this video is for those of you who want to basically get better in the game Blacksmith Wukong, struggling with the game. So this is why I'm here, this is why I'm actually making this video. Now I know it's very hard when you're actually hearing so many people say the game is easy, or those who actually say that the game is hard don't really help you. So you find yourself really kind of trying to understand really what can help you become better in the game. Now let's put it like that. I know it's very easy to understand if the game is hard if people put like a Souls like label on it. Although this is not a Souls-like game, it does carry difficulty, at least at some of the bosses, and quite a few of them that are challenging as some of the Souls-like games, for sure. So if I care about somebody who is going to buy this game and they ask me if the game is difficult, I would probably say to them that the game is difficult as Souls-like game, because it's just better portray the difficulty that they expect to have when they play the game. Now, whether for you specifically it's easy, fine, but for many players this game will be very, very challenging. And this video is made for those people who are struggling with the game. Alright, let's put that aside. What can help you to do well in the game? Now note that if you're coming with experience with Souls games, you're gonna have easier time here because you already have the methodology to actually know what to do in general when you encounter boss fights like you have here. Like for example, paying attention to not lose sync with the boss attacks, find opportunity to attack the boss, put also your attention on defense, how to avoid certain attacks, especially the most powerful ones. Try to stay focused, for example, and again, knowing that when actually you die in the game, you should be frustrated because again, just extra step to eventually beat a boss. But again, this is just kind of general things I'm throwing here. Now, I take into account that you don't have experience with Souls games because otherwise you probably know more or less how to deal with many of the things that are thrown at you in this game. Now, I'm kind for playing lots of Souls games, but still I'm making these mistakes when I get back into the game after playing lots of, well, easier games. And one of the most important things you're going to learn the hard way is you need to time your dodges when you actually fight against a boss. Basically, if you're going to continue rolling and rolling and rolling, you're going to lose sync with the boss attacks and eventually you're just going to fall into an attack and lose lots of health. The bosses are very punishing, they deal lots of damage, and if you don't do that, you are most likely to fail. This means paying attention to the attacks and dodge at the right time. Now the great thing about Blacksmith Wukong is the attacks are telegraphed very well in the game. You can clearly see when the attack is taking place and when. I mean when you need to dodge. It's much easier compared to other Souls-like games that I play where it's very hard. Also the easing, basically the rhythm of the animation, how fast it goes and slow and how it changes the speed is also very manageable. And what I'm actually saying that even if you don't pay a lot of attention or you don't want to learn the moves, eventually it will just get embedded into you and you will learn how to dodge them. That's how it was for me. And it wasn't like that in many other Souls games. The other thing is that don't get stuck at the boss. If you can beat the boss, I know it's not Elden Ring, but still there are plenty of secrets here in items to find that allows you to get more powerful. This item can really work well with certain builds and compensate for certain disadvantages that you have in certain fights. And trust me, there are plenty of them, and although the area is small and it's not open world, there are lots of secrets to find. If you don't want to really search for it and spend a lot of time, there are guides online that are going to show you how you can get a secret in each level. The other thing, level up. But then I mean getting more points. It doesn't mean necessarily you need to get high level, but eliminate lots of enemies, which eventually give you XP and you can level up. But basically, you want to have the option to get more points, so you can invest them in the skill tree, because again, this will also allow you to become more powerful and can be quite significant because you can really amplify, especially the spells that can give you a really big advantage in the fight. Now, if you don't mind spoilers and you don't mind reading guides, do that. Those guides can be very good for you. You're going to find lots of builds that people created online. They can be very powerful, even some of them are totally broken. And of course you can find locations where to find certain items. This can really help. So if you are struggling, it's okay. You can look for it, read a bit. You don't need to read everything and know it. You can explore yourself. But when you feel like, alright, I need the extra, read guides online. They can help you out. Now this is comes with experience, but also with a state of mind. When you're fighting bosses, don't panic. Pay attention, take the rhythm, even focus on just dodging rather than attacking. And you can actually see that there's lots of time to really see what the boss is going to do, their moves, their attacks when they're coming, compared to if you are really kind of try to hack and slash your way through the boss. And the more, let's say, elevated you are emotionally, the harder it will be for you to concentrate. So what I can say to you to try to deal with it, just focus on getting to the boss and not attack. Just try to avoid and not getting hit. This will make you much more comfortable, and instead of dying like 20 times, you can just focus on dodging like 2-3 fights, and you feel more comfortable later on. The other thing is that you can read lots of things, but not everything that people put there will work for you. And this is why I recommend experimenting, because you have some things that are basically for you, subjective, based on your reaction time, based on your concentration and everything, based on your understanding of the fight. You might even find things that actually work better than what other people are actually posting there. And the way to do it is, for example, changing stances. Some of the stances can be very, very powerful at certain bosses, while other stances might not work well. One thing that I personally did, by the way, is actually focusing on defense, amplifying my defense so I can survive the fight longer, rather than get into a situation where I try to put everything on offense to finish the boss faster, but at least that I'm just failing and failing because I'm just getting hit because I keep making the same mistakes. Whether defensive items can really help me prolong the fight, and basically when I prolong the fight, I stay in the fight longer, I learn more about the fight. The other thing is learn the combos. Combos can be very powerful, and I'm not just talking about weapon combos. They can even nullify some of the attack damage of enemies, but also learning combos that when you use spells. For example, I have immobilize and I have duplicates. All right, so I can, if for example I spawn my duplicates and then use the immobilize, I can amplify the damage overall, not just because it's part of the perks in the skill tree, but also because, again, the duplicates have more time to actually attack. And when I'm actually attacking the boss, I prolong their stay and it can deal more damage. And I think this is one of the most powerful things in the game, if done right, or at least they can really help you get a big chunk of health out of bosses. So make sure to learn these combos, both of the weapon and of course combining different spells, or spells and attacks. Now this is something that I haven't done the entire game. I haven't unlocked the Blacksmith. Only later I found out after I finished the game and just read more guides, because when I did my first playthrough I didn't read anything. So the Blacksmith is something that I recommend unlocking as soon as possible. Really, this is just allows you to upgrade gear and some other things which I won't spoil you here, but basically unlock the Blacksmith. Being able to upgrade gear, of course, can make you overall very powerful. You can unlock new perks that appears in gear only when you upgrade the gear. So make sure to remember, unlock the Blacksmith. If you want to know how to do that, check my channel. Now, probably the best tip I can give you if you really want to invest into a game is learn enemy patterns. Learn how to avoid certain attacks. This is the most demanding thing, and some people can be good at it, while others, find it struggling with it, or just don't want to do that because it's just, well, it takes a lot of time. Basically, practice and paying attention and learning and look at the hand and the moves. And the cool thing about the game, as I told you, it telegraphs very well when it comes to the attack animations. So even if you play more, you're going to find that it's easier in this game. Now listen, you don't need to learn to dodge all the attacks. I'm telling you from experience, I'm among those who don't want to learn everything. But if you're able to dodge the powerful attacks, you'll do well. Because some attacks are not really that bad, and you can actually just, heal every now and then, and you're going to finish the fight probably before you die. So there are some attacks that are very powerful. If you see they're done with them, pay attention when they happen and learn how to dodge them. This is the type of game that will require you to learn how to dodge certain attacks. Again, it actually puts you in a position where if you really don't want to do that, you're going to suffer, most probably. Unless you have really broken build, you're going to suffer, or glitch or something. The other thing that I highly recommend, is upgrading your gourd. Basically, you have your gourd, you have your drink, and you have your soaks. And of course, you get different benefits, so experiment with them. But don't forget to upgrade them. You're going to find NPCs that allows you to upgrade them, both, by the way, in the camp when you unlock the Blacksmith and even early on. And this can unlock you different perks that allows you to heal more often, have more zips. And basically, this allows you to survive longer. So definitely don't skip the option to upgrade your gourd. Now, if you're really struggling, first of all, take a break if you need to. I'm telling you, this really helps for concentration. But as the community, if you're struggling with certain boss fights, you can just ask. Many people have lots of great tips, and it's not really bad asking for tips. If you can see things yourself clear in certain fights, and maybe you understand some of the disadvantages of the boss, the weaknesses, it's great. And it's really helpful, especially by the way in games, Souls games. There's so many ways you can actually defeat the boss much easier if you know the weaknesses. In Elden Ring, for example, is different elements. So if the boss is weakened against a certain element, you can really deal massive damage. Whether if you come without that knowledge, you're gonna take you much longer. Now, of course, this game is different, but basically asking the community for tips can help you out if you don't mind that. Now, it's a pretty long title, but basically I heard many people just getting stuck on optional boss fights that are very hard. Why are you doing it? I mean, if you want to finish it, fine, but if you see that it's hard, just remember, you know, that you need to fight against this boss, do other things, find new items, and then go back to it. I know in Elden Ring that's what I did, like it was very natural, but it was an open world. You're gonna find spirits, like you see here, for example, that spirits can provide you with extra benefits. And of course, you have so many things. You can level up, you can find really great items, many things that can really help you. And once you get back to a boss, an optional boss, you'll be able to finish it much easier. So don't put yourself in a situation just to get frustrated for hours. You can do it. Go find new things, get back to it. I promise you, it would be easier. Yeah, so basically these are things that can really help you to do well, and then don't just disregard them. Pay attention to what I said. I'm telling you, this has come from experience, from a player who actually really didn't like playing anything hard. Elden Ring was my first Souls game. Since then I play other Souls games and Souls-like games, and I learned to enjoy them. I still make mistakes and lots of them, but it got much easier for me because I'm paying attention to those things that I mentioned here. And eventually you get to a point that you become less frustrated and you actually learn to enjoy and have more patience for the game. Of course, frustration is part of it for many players. Still, you're going to learn to enjoy it and a lot. Thanks for watching.